Hello class, William Cook here. Today for the discussion, I want to discuss the idea that we often take for granted, the difference between freedom and liberty. Today we use those words almost interchangeably, but in early Western civilization they often carry different meanings. By looking at ancient Greece alongside the Roman Republic, especially through writings of Cicero, we could see that these two concepts represented competing visions of how a society should function. The ancient Athenians believed that freedom came through direct participation in government. Citizens exercised freedom by voting on laws, debating public issues, and serving in public office. To them, political participation itself was freedom. A citizen was free because he had an equal voice in determining the direction of the city-state. The Romans approached this issue differently. Rather than emphasizing unlimited participation, Roman thinkers became increasingly concerned with preserving order, stability, and constitutional government. No Roman thinkers represents this idea better than Marcus Tullius Cicero. In De Re Publica, Cicero argues that the best government is not pure democracy or pure monarchy, but a mixed constitution that balances different political powers. He believed that liberty could only survive when government was restrained by law and when each part of society fulfilled its proper role. To Cicero, liberty was not the absence of all authority. Instead, it was the result of living under just laws within a stable constitutional system. This becomes even clearer in De Legibus, where Cicero argues that true laws are rooted in natural law rather than simply the will of the majority. In other words, just because the people vote for something does not automatically make it right. Law must reflect justice and reason. This idea would eventually become one of the foundations of Western constitutional thought. Modern historian Jeff Kennedy offers an interesting interpretation of Cicero's political philosophy. Kennedy argues that many modern scholars have misunderstood Cicero by focusing almost entirely on liberty as freedom from domination. Instead, Kennedy argues that Cicero's greatest concern was concord or social harmony. According to Kennedy, Cicero believed that liberty existed only when society remained orderly, constitutional, and balanced. He feared that excessive democracy could become what he called license, a condition where everyone pursued their own desires without regard for law, tradition, or the common good. In Cicero's view, too much freedom could ultimately destroy liberty itself by creating instability and opening the door to tyranny. This distinction highlights an important difference between Greece and Rome. The Greek democratic tradition emphasized political equality and active participation, while Roman Republican tradition emphasized constitutional order, the rule of law, and limited government. Both sought to preserve freedom, but they understood that the path to achieving it was in very different ways. These ancient debates did not disappear when the fall of Rome came. They continued to influence later political thinkers throughout the Western history. One of the examples is James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution. Madison admired the Roman Republic, particularly its system of separated powers and constitutional checks, but he also recognized the importance of representative government and popular consent. The United States Constitution reflects this balance by protecting individual liberty while preventing any one branch or faction from gaining too much power. To conclude, the study in Western civilization reminds us that freedom and liberty have never been simple ideas. The Greeks emphasized freedom through participation, equality, and while Cicero and the Romans emphasized liberty through constitutional order and the rule of law. Understanding both traditions and definitions gives us a deeper appreciation for the development of Western political thought and helps explain why constitutional government continues to value both individual rights and institutional restraint. Thank you for your time.